So I'd like to call this meeting to order and to see if there's anybody here who would like to participate from the public. Apparently not. Thank you very much. Todd, go ahead and tell us what you got.
Okay. So this year's budget, we can go right down the list here. Personal services, actually going down about 3.5%. That is due to us picking up more contracted services for gas and light. So they need some help with their applications as well as what we typically do for them, what we currently do for them now. So we're adding that on. 2 salaries are going to go up because of that, but overall budget on personal services is going down. We can get into a breakdown afterwards. Contractual services, those always go up. We just see our software prices, software support agreements always on the rise. Materials and supplies also going up. We're going to see an increase here. It's a 1-year increase just for vehicle maintenance. So we need new tires on some of the IT vehicles. And sundry charges are almost the same. That's where we're seeing our Microsoft 365 subscription. Do you guys want to go down to each individual tab?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure. So computer maintenance, we have basically our printer lease and our whole panel UPS over at Public Safety and their paging system. These don't change much over the years. Software maintenance is where we see the big increases typically. We have all of our Tyler Technologies, Munis pricing. We just finished a big migration with them, so there is some shifting in support. We see like some stuff actually dropped a little bit, which you rarely see with Tyler. But it's the way that they're moving around their Tyler forms, and they have things that fall under different departments now.
So a quick question there,
yeah,
if I may. Just looking at the percentage changes, it seems like historically, like it went from 5% uptick for most of the Tyler Technologies in 2021 to 3% in 21-22. And then 22-23, it went up to 5%. And then last year it was 5%. This year, most of them are at 9%.
Yeah, so we just finished a big upgrade with them. And it could be the way that they're moving their support around, or it could just be that they boosted it up 9%. This is an actual quote that we have from them. So that's where the prices are going to fall in.
Got it. I mean, some of them did go down.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's
much.
Right. And I don't know if that's a quantity thing or something else, but it was definitely surprising to see an overall trend of 9% now, with a couple of them, like the last one, which was human resource and talent management, was up 14.5%. And none of the specific values are necessarily all that large, as compared to the whole budget, but it was interesting to see that. Okay, go ahead.
Sure. Patriot Properties, there's a request they're going to be taking a little bit more support from the assessing department. So that went up a little bit more than usual. We have.
I'm sorry, Todd, this was a request from the assessor. What exactly are they asking for?
So he's going to have some help with some additional reports that he needs in there.
Okay.
So it's outside consulting.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. OpenGov, our permitting software. There's really nothing major here. We see a reduction for 1 year for firewall maintenance, only because we're doing a capital upgrade. The first year of support is included with that. The voice recording for public safety, they're now taking over the support agreement with that. These three were previously funded by town admin, so it just makes more sense to have them in here. It's software subscriptions that we have or support for them. Nothing really.
So that's just like a budget normalization
Interesting,
kind of
yeah.
a thing.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that was the majority of the non-Tyler difference was in those three line items. I did
Yep.
notice that that Sophos went up by 50% support. And I was, and that was historically in the 3 to 5% range.
Yeah, let's see where that one is. Yeah, Sophos going up was, I think the increase, we have increase in number of workstations. Plus they have the new scanning, I think Sophos EDM. I could double back on that.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely it's fascinating how support just keeps going up. And I read an article, that said that basically anything from 3 to 10% is kind of what the industry is seeing for increases in support. And overall, I think we came in at just about 10%, right?
Yeah, and it's tough because you don't have options.
Right. Like you'd literally have to go to some other package, which would be a
Right.
capital investment. And yeah. Okay. You can carry
Brilliant
on.
business model, isn't it, Brian?
What's that?
It's a brilliant business model.
That's where everyone is going.
We've got you by the shorties, boys.
No kidding.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Brian, just real quick on those items that came out of the town admin budget.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you remember seeing those as subtractions in the other budgets that we approved or
I
reviewed
don't.
at least? We
So
never
that's
really
something
mentioned that.
Yeah, we should definitely follow up on that just to make sure we don't have them showing up twice.
Right.
I like it. Good. Any other questions? Yeah, and definitely feel free to jump in. I'm obviously not one that stands on a lot of Robert's rules. Go ahead.
Okay. Next, training just went up slightly, adding computer-based training for one more employee.
Okay.
No questions on that one.
No, I mean, it is up a
Yep.
quarter, but there's somebody new who needed training.
Right. Professional services, nothing here. Telephone is staying about the same. In-state travel is dropping down only because the costs have moved to it's more appropriate accounting. So this travel budget typically was used for like tolls and parking or any in-state hotels, things like that. But we've always used it for vehicle maintenance. So for fuel charges, for any tolls that we'd incur, which we haven't seen that in a while. But we moved those over to line up with what the other departments are doing for vehicle maintenance.
So there's a
Todd,
whole, go ahead.
I just had a quick question on the previous one, unless there was a question on this.
Oh, sure.
Go ahead.
For telephones, so this is mobile phones, wireless services. Is this just for the IT department?
Yeah, it's just for IT.
How many folks does that encompass?
We have 5.
Okay. It is Verizon Wireless. Okay.
Okay, so the idea is that for the travel account, you moved it over to this other 5481 account, is
Right.
that right?
Yep.
And I'm not sure, like, so is there an IT car? Or is it just sort of mileage and tolls and things and fuel for people who go traveling,
No,
in their own cars?
yeah, there are town vehicles that we use.
And this is like to go over to the data center or whatever.
Yeah, we have about 40 different sites that we go to in town. So if you count all the different SCADA sites, you count the schools, you count gas and light. There's about 40 different there's 40 fiber connected locations that we have.
Wow. Who knew?
Yeah, we do a lot of running around.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. Office supplies are very basic.
Yep.
This it's really summarized right here. I mean, replacing PC and network hardware for stuff that isn't under warranty. So you need a new hard drive or something like that.
Okay.
Yep. Motor vehicles, that new account that was created. So we have the fuel, oil changes, registration. The big one added on was tires for the vehicles this year.
Yep. And again, just so that you guys actually use a town car for all this stuff, not a Lincoln town car, but a town car that is something owned by
Correct.
the town. Okay.
Yep.
And this is essentially, this is like WMGLD paying you guys for time that you're spending on IT stuff.
Oh, correct. Whereas we pay DPW for the maintenance that they do. Yeah, so all the work is done through the DPW garage, and it's more so a service transfer.
So there's like a chargeback, really.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Good.
Uniforms and clothing. This went up slightly. The union contract went up a couple of years ago, where it's $600 per employee. We don't do as much work as all of the union workers as far as wear and tear. So that's been reduced to $450 per person.
And what is this about?
So
Like,
this
because,
is if
go ahead.
yeah, any type of uniform clothing or safety equipment, like whether it's safety glasses, hard hats for some jobs, just regular clothing. You get stuff ripped when you're in network racks, things like that. Anything that would fall in that category.
Interesting. Okay. Good.
Subscriptions, yep. So what we're using right now is Zoom. I mean, we centralized the billing for that, so it's gone up a little bit. Office 365, we haven't signed up for that yet for this fiscal year. So that project is still ready to take off. But even if we completed it by June 30th, the following June 30th, we'd have another subscription renewal.
Okay, so we're not likely to see anything. Well, so we've got a budget in there for 70,000.
Right.
But we haven't actually spent any of it yet.
Correct. Yeah, year-to-date spending on that is zero for that project.
But the idea is that you're pretty certain it's going to hit, if not later this fiscal year, then early next fiscal year.
Yeah, and if it started, say we started even July 1st, then what would happen is this fiscal year's funds would be returned to the town, and then we would just pay out of next fiscal year.
Got it. And is there like some kind of a delay or?
No, just other projects going on. We just finished our Munis upgrade, which was a big undertaking. And we have had the public safety building wrap up.
Got it. Yeah, it was really interesting. I was looking at this budget and the the rise, for example, for Office 365 happened 23 to 24 is when that got budgeted.
Yep.
Which was, a pretty darn significant rise, but also Zoom went up last year, 84%, 40% this year. And that's just, we use it more because all of our meetings happen on Zoom, right? I mean, that's what that's about.
Yeah, and we're just finished outfitting 5 different conference rooms with all new Zoom equipment.
Ah,
So those all needed Zoom room subscriptions, which just adds up.
is one of those the downstairs FinCom meeting room?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Does that mean we're going to have to get? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, can we go back to the clothing? I was away from I was up.
Yeah.
Up hearing that conversation. I didn't see the tab.
So it's a $750 increase
it is-
from 24.
All right, I was just gonna ask if it was a clothing allowance in a union contract. It's probably not worth talking about. I just kind of chuckled at like of all the professions that need a clothing allowance. I can't imagine IT is at the top of the list, but
Yeah.
union contract, got it. Okay. What a silly thing. I mean,
Well,
goodness
I can
gracious.
send you some pictures of us up on lifts and
Hey man,
down
like
in vaults under the street.
I've ripped my my shirt doing work too. I never got a clothing allowance, but
Right.
okay, I got you. It's a union contract. It's not worth, applying logic to it. So it's fine. Thanks.
Right. So that's everything, eh?
That's everything.
Okay. So I'd just like to open the floor up. Evan or Stefan, do either of you all have something you want to dive into?
I guess one thing that's sort of on the horizon is a Windows 10 end of life in October of 2025. I don't know. I guess I'd like your take on that, whether or not or do we have a lot of exposure for I guess hardware that's not compatible with Windows 11 upgrades, things of that
Yeah,
nature
we
that
do.
might be cost impacts?
Yep, we have a number of workstations that hardware won't take the upgrade. That will be probably a capital request if we don't find it anywhere else in a grant or any type of funding.
Okay. A capital request for this upcoming budget, like in
No.
preparation for that, or for the budgets the next time?
Yeah, it'll be
Same round.
the following year.
Okay.
So fiscal year 26.
Yep.
And it's just going to be sort of like a one fell swoop type of hardware upgrade.
Yeah, when we do the hardware purchases like that, we'll do them all at once. The machines that are compatible now, we're starting to upgrade some to 11 now, just to get exposure.
Okay. But for issues like that, when we're doing, I guess, upgrades or uplifts like en masse, are we setting ourselves up to sort of, I guess, rely on that capital request? Has that been the history of these types of like large IT buys, all capital requests?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you saying we should maybe do something more regular maintenance sort of wise, or
Yeah.
switch out a few every year rather than do a big one? kind of thing?
Well, yeah, so I think that's what Todd, you're just mentioning that, right? You do have some wiggle room to do some upgrades here and there.
Well, they can.
Yeah, we
I
have,
think if I may, I think what I heard you say, Todd, was that you've got some machines that can take a Windows 11 upgrade today, and so you're trying some of those just to see how it goes.
correct.
But it's not it's not an actual hardware upgrade. It's hardware that was purchased previously that's acceptable for a Windows 11 upgrade.
Correct. And we
Okay.
have some that it just won't take the Windows 11 upgrade. So those will be subject to new hardware.
Yeah, so do you know, I guess what's the, I mean, it's one way or the other, benefits to both, but, would it make sense to include a, sort of a larger hardware budget, for the IT department? So that's, we get out of this, sort of request for capital, for these large buys. We sort of, evolve over time within our budget as opposed to going through the capital route.
Yeah, we could definitely build it into more of like a life cycle
Yeah.
operating type of budget.
Do you have a particular preference?
Not really.
Stefan, in your experience, does it work better one way or the other?
Well, I know like we've at least, all right, so at my workplace, we've been looking at this for quite a while now. My former group, we had like 80 something people. So we took a look at our hardware profiles for the entire group, realized, 20% of the 20 to 25% of the IT systems needed to be, it wouldn't be compatible with hardware compatibility with Windows 11, so we'd have to replace quite a number of systems. But we, given the long lead time that we have, it's till I think it's mid-October of 2025. We've been, we institute a plan to sort of, replace a few every month or so to make sure that we're good to go once that deadline passes. But and it's not like and I guess this is also sort of workforce management too, because our folks wouldn't have like the bandwidth to support like updating like 2025 systems. And plus, and from a budgetary standpoint too, it's pretty tough. These systems can be pretty expensive, 35K each.
Yeah, it sounds like you have much higher performing PCs than we get.
I bet they're good gaming PCs.
Yes, actually, they probably would be. Yeah. So just a thought. I'm not sure if there's any. I haven't given this too much thought, but does it make sense to include in your budget the true like IT need? And if that includes hardware, like some sort of hardware plan to replace, all hardware throughout the life of those systems that at least you have purview over. That might be beneficial. And
Yep.
then if and when like certain things like we were just talking about software, and sort of the I mean 3 to 10% fluctuations in software prices when we're talking large numbers, that can be a pretty large swing in terms of whole dollars. So having sort of a hardware budget included within the IT department budget provides a little bit of a wiggle room, if you will, if something catastrophic might happen throughout the year. Just a thought.
Do you mean, how do you mean wiggle room?
Well, so if you're budgeting, say, I don't know, just I'm throwing large numbers out there, but like 50K for hardware, for for each year. But then, something happens or there's a particular need for like a software upgrade or a new license or growth in a license area for whatever reason. You'll have the 50K there that's, meant for hardware, but say you buy one less computer so you can take advantage of this software immediate need that might help, I guess, cushion the blow, so to speak.
Got it.
Also, I mean, if there's any other issues with like personnel or can't think of any others that we've gone through recently, but um, things of that nature. The additional wiggle room there helps.
Got it. Okay.
And then also it's one less thing. You don't have to, put together a capital request.
Right.
And those funds can, those funds, the knock-on effect is those funds will be set aside for, instead of like personal computer stuff, maybe it's a massive like server stuff.
Todd, to that point, how many PCs, desktops are you guys responsible for? Like, is it all the schools in addition to the town?
No, we don't do the schools or gas and light. They manage their own hardware. So we do have the town, water, DPW, and public safety. So we say about, let's say like 140.
Desktops
Yep. Between desktops and
and laptops. Yeah. Everybody where I work now, brings their laptop in and plugs it into the two big nice monitors, so that you've got complete flexibility. And it's an interesting way of doing things. I'm guessing, like, how do you guys split out actual desktops versus laptops?
It goes on the job need. So you have some people that would have the option of that they might work on the road a little bit more or work from home, or just they opt for that preference.
Mm-hmm.
And you have some people that their job is more so, I'm at my desk all the time. I really don't have that need.
Right. And it does introduce some security issues as well, right? If I take the whole accounting system home with me, for example.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Excellent line of questioning, Stefan. I like it. Okay. Anything else, Stefan, that you wanted to add?
One of the other things I was just going to ask, and I think you've mentioned you've applied for these before, but there's municipal grants, like IT grants available.
Correct.
I'm just wondering if you're still taking advantage of those, applying to those where you
Yeah,
can.
there was actually one announced on Saturday that we're going to be applying for this week. So cybersecurity grant.
Okay, all right, sweet. Yeah, and I saw also, and I'm not sure if this is new, but there's a cybersecurity health check program. And I'm not sure if that's something that's we have taken advantage of in the past, or if that's new, or if we are interested in taking advantage of that.
Who's that through, Stefan?
I think it's a part of the Massachusetts Office of Municipal and School Technology.
Okay, I'll take a look at that one.
Yeah, I just noticed it was interesting pop-up, but yeah, I just wanted to call your attention to it. That's all.
Terrific. Okay. And Mr. Kenny. Anything to
No, I'm tempted to just ask for an update on the compliance with the cybersecurity insurance policy, but yeah, why don't we do that? I don't know if you just want to give an overview on that, Todd.
Sure. So we are compliant with our insurance, in short.
Great. So when that employee takes the whole accounting system home, we can sleep soundly. Is that what you're saying?
As long as we recorded that they took the accounting system home, yeah.
Okay. All
As
right.
long as it's documented.
Cool.
Okay. Let's see, we talked about training. We talked about 5481. We talked about clothing. We talked about subscriptions. So there are a number of accounts where we have not spent, or we have already spent most of the budget. So on the top, in sheet A, personal services at 50%, and that makes sense. Contractual services, we've spent almost 80% thus far. On a budget of 183, we've got about 38,000 left to spend. Is that okay? Are we going to run into an issue there, or is that fine?
That comes into where software agreements are up for renewal. So you might have Tyler, which was up for renewal, and that's roughly 50% of your budget there. So that gets paid up front. These are all annual charges. So we have a few more that are going to hit towards the end of June, for instance, and that might be the last 30,000 that we see.
Got it. And then the next two, material supplies and sundry charges, both are spending under 10% thus far for the year.
Yeah. So some of them, like office supplies, we have it budgeted, but we only use it when we need it. Same with the computer supplies, reproducing and computer supplies there.
Okay. All right. The travel is one where you're at 12% within page 3, or I guess it's budget number 3, page 2, under contractual services. That's at 12%. Computer maintenance, you mentioned, at 23%. Office supplies, you mentioned, yeah. Okay, good. Well, those were the things that I had. Anything else from my fellow committee members?
I know every year we go through the budget that's kind of before us for this next fiscal year. I can't remember if I brought this up before, but I know the forecasting committee, they do sort of, I think it's like some 2.5% to maybe 3% or 4% cost increase year over year for all the departments to sort of gauge like what our forecast is going to be. I was just wondering if if the IT department does any forecasting at a more granular level.
No, we try and keep that right below the 3% as well.
Okay. I know it's like
you're talking,
tough.
you're talking
nearly,
overall budget.
yeah, especially like we were just talking about the 3 to 10% swings in software maintenance costs. Windows upgrade type things happening pretty much regularly. The impacts to the budget in those particular areas would be nice to see. And it's kind of weird, and this is something else that ties with like, do you include like hardware within this budget as opposed to like including it as a line item request in the capital budget every other year, every few years?
Right.
You don't really, because the money is in different pockets, you don't really see like truly what's happening in a particular
full picture
area. Yeah. Yeah, so I was just wondering if forecasting exists for this budget.
So that's just really quickly, Stefan, that's a great point, but it should be pretty straightforward to bring together the capital requests of the IT department over the last X years, and we could throw it in there ourselves, right?
Oh, yes, yeah, certainly. I just never in like the number of years that I've been doing this, I've never seen, we're always kind of stovepipes in our budget reviews. Like we're doing this one now. We won't see capital for I think another month, at least a preview of capital for another month. And that doesn't get finalized until towards the end of the spring, if I remember correctly. But it's all disparate pieces, yeah. And it's just
Would there
it
be
doesn't
any other
provide the full
budget
picture.
that would include anything regarding IT? I mean, it would either be the IT budget itself or
Oh yeah,
capital.
there's the school department has a transfer line item associated with IT, right?
Yep.
DPW. Does the light department also have a
Yeah, it's
transfer?
light and water.
Okay. We
Those
saw
two,
line items being added to this one,
They're in the salaries, right, Todd?
correct. Yeah, they contract services.
but they're not listed here, are they?
In the
Yeah,
salaries.
those are
At the bottom?
Yeah.
down at the bottom, Sheriff.
So there's a school transfer of
Enterprise.
last year it was 157.2, this year 166.8, and then the enterprise fund, which includes MGLD, water, sewer. Those guys. Is that everybody?
Yeah, it's just those two.
Yep. It was 239.2, now 267.3, and that actually. I want to hear what you have to say on that, Todd. But it's interesting because unvarnished salaries went up 6.48% from last year. But there's the offset, right? They're asking for
Right.
more things, and we saw that last year as well, where
Yep.
there were certain reports, if I recall, or particular kinds of support that they were needing that you guys were going to be able to provide. And that worries me a little bit just in terms of long-term viability and whether they're going to continue to pay. But it seems like they're happy to continue to pay, ostensibly because they feel like they're getting value for their money.
Yeah, it would probably cost them 3 to 5 times more if they went elsewhere. And then they would still need we're so integrated, they would still need our input at that point too.
Got it. So, Stefan, does that answer your question about where that money shows up?
Oh, yeah, certainly. Yep. Um, yeah, I guess I just when I think of an IT department budget, like it's particularly um, well, it's interesting to see that there's no hardware line item in here. Just comments, that's all.
That's a great comment. And to your point, I will take it upon myself to get that capital, past history capital request from the IT department, and I'll get that around to you all, so we can sort of match that in with the actual budget request. Okay. Any other questions or comments from the committee? All right. And Todd, just general, how do you feel things are going? Like, do you feel like we're going in a good direction? You're optimistic about the future?
Yeah, I think
Go ahead.
things are looking good. With the added training this year too, we're going to be looking to get more people certified on staff. So in their different areas. And overall, that's going to help with the efficiency of the department too.
Okay, good. So a good investment there. And what keeps you up at night?
How much time? do you
that
have?
has to do with the IT department.
Good qualifier.
Thank
Right,
you.
right. No, nothing worries me too much here.
Very
We
good.
have a good group and good monitoring on all the systems.
All right. So in the absence of any further comments, I'd be willing to entertain a motion to adjourn
So moved.
by Mr. Kenny. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank goodness you guys are working in tandem. Okay. Well, I really appreciate all of your help and your good comments, and I've got some follow up. And Todd, I expect I'll see you this evening.
Yes, sir. Talk to you then.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.